Okay. Last TK to YouTube of the semester, guys. All right, last video of ANP140. Okay, let's hone this guy in. So, sexual cycle, guys. So this is referring to the menstruational cycle that females undergo every month. Okay. So, what's happening here? Okay. So as I call it in class, I call it story time. Okay. Because what I did is I showed you guys this picture here, and I basically read verbatim the words over here of what's all happening in this graph over here. In previous years past, and this is what students have struggled with the most on the quiz, okay? So I think the more time you can put into this, the more time you put understanding this, the more sense it'll make when it comes to those questions that you guys will experience on your celebration. Come at 2 weeks. Yep, 2 weeks. Okay, so we're gonna do story time, but I'm gonna have the dialogue on the left, pictures on the right. And remember with labeling, remember I said everything that is happening in this top graph, okay, this is for the ovaries, okay? Just to make that clear. So this is what is happening in the ovaries. And the one down here, this is what is happening in the uterus. Okay? All right. So, first of all, anterior pituitary hormone secretion, ovarian cycle, okay? Relating to LH and FSH, so luteinizing hormone and follicular stimulating hormone, okay? Ovaries, what's happening over here? It's showing the development of the follicle, eventual rupture, and the formation of the corpus luteum, okay? Ovarian hormone secretion, okay? So what happens down here? Having estrogen and progesterone, okay? We're going to monitor the rates of those two hormones. And then we also have the thickness of the endometrium, okay? So the endometrium is that internal lining of the uterus. So as we can see here, it's going to go down, it's going to go up, and it's going to go down over and over and over again, like a wave, okay? So we'll talk about that. Why is this happening? What's going on? The way that you make your way through this entire thing is you follow the arrows, okay? So they go in alphabetical order from A, B, C, D, E, all the way through, okay? So, with that, story time, guys. So first of all, the follicular phase of the ovarian cycle is from day 1 to day 14. Okay, perfect. So follicular phase right here. During this phase, FSH from the anterior pituitary stimulates the growth of several follicles, okay, in the ovaries. So perfect, letter A. FSH is in blue, LH is in red. So we're stimulating the growth of the follicles. They're getting bigger and bigger and bigger, all right? So as they continue to do that, one of them is going to become the dominant follicle, okay? So letter B here, one will become the dominant. Normally, there's only one dominant follicle each cycle, and the one that becomes the mature one to eventually ovulate is determined by which one has the richest blood supply, and also which one has the greatest amount of FSH receptors, excuse me, okay? So one egg ovulates, okay? So as that dominant follicle matures, it produces more and more estrogen, okay? So we can see, as it's going down here, it becomes more mature, that estrogen level is starting to rise, okay? Increased estrogen causes the endometrial lining of the uterus to proliferate, to grow and divide. So estrogen goes up, we can see that uterine lining thickness going up as well, okay? This is called the proliferative phase, okay? Days like about 5 to 14, okay? So that's happening, is coinciding with the latter part of the follicular phase when estrogen levels are rising. Throughout most of the cycle, estrogen exerts negative feedback control over the hypothalamus and the anterior pituitary. But because of the dramatic rise, okay, in estrogen towards the end of the follicular phase, it acts as a molecular switch in the brain that then stimulates the hypothalamus and the anterior pituitary to secrete more GnRH and LH-FSH. So we don't need to really worry about GnRH here, but it recruits more LH and FSH, okay? So this is via positive feedback. And it does that for a short amount of time via letter E here, okay? So that surge in LH and FSH causes ovulation on day 14, okay? We can mark that right here. So day 14, letter F. Ovulation, follicle ruptures, allows that oocyte, that egg, to escape and be caught by the fimbriae and move onward. Perfect. So what happens after this? So days 15 to 18 of the ovarian cycle are called the luteal phase, okay? That surge in LH causes ovulation, also transforms the remaining cells of that empty follicle now, okay, that discarded follicle, into a structure called the corpus luteum, the yellow body in Latin. Letter G here, as you can see. The corpus luteum secretes a lot of progesterone and estrogen. We can see that via letter H, okay? We can see how those progesterone levels are so high. Estrogen is really high here, okay? And it does this to prepare the uterus for pregnancy, which is why we can see the thickness of this endometrium growing, okay? So the estrogen stimulates continued growth of the endometrium, while progesterone causes the endometrial glands to secrete glycogen, the cervical mucus to thicken and increase blood flow to the uterus via letter I. The secretory phase, okay, which lasts about days 15 to 26, all right, is labeled down here. If pregnancy does not occur, okay, remember this, the two fates I was talking about. So if pregnancy does not occur, the corpus luteum will begin to degenerate into an inactive piece of scar tissue, as it says by letter J here, okay? So it's called involution. So if it starts to degenerate, what's going to happen? We're going to see a dramatic drop, okay, in estrogen and progesterone, okay, letter K. Without these hormones, nothing maintains the endometrium of the uterus, aka the uterine lining, and it begins to degenerate, okay? Days 27 to 28 of the menstrual cycle are when the degeneration of the endometrium occurs, okay? It's called the premenstrual phase, all right? When enough menstrual fluid accumulates in the uterus, it is discharged from the vagina for a period called the menstrual phase, okay? The first day that you actually notice and mark discharge out of the vagina marks the first day of a new menstrual cycle, okay? So the menstrual phase lasts from days 1 to 5, and then thus menstruation occurs, the cycle starts all over again, and a new round of follicles develop, and this goes on and on for many, many months, until eventually females will hit menopause, which comes in 50, 60 years for a lot of you guys, okay? All right, so that was story time here, okay? So all you got to do here, guys, is just follow the letters, okay? It takes you through the entire cycle. It takes you from days 1 to 28. It can get a little confusing because you have a lot of these days that kind of overlap, okay? But we'll talk about these. Next page here, okay? So now that you're familiar with the female cycle, okay, label the blank figure with the phases, tubes, everything like that, okay? So what's going to happen? So follicular phase, guys, all right? Remember this days 1 to 14. All right. Luteal phase probably has something to do with the corpus luteum, right? This is days 15 to 28. All right, good. Menstrual phase, okay? We're actually having discharge coming out of the vagina, okay? It is days 1 to 5. 1 to 5. Proliferative phase, okay? This is actually having growth, okay? Having growth of this tissue here. This is going to be days 6 to 14. Growth of that uterine lining, right? Secretory phase, okay? So where's this one going to occur? It's going to occur days 15 to 26, okay? All right, being very, very delicate with here. And then the premenstrual phase, days 27 to 28, the last part, okay? When you are actually having the breakdown of the tissue when it is not being fully discharged yet. Okay, guys? All right. Good. I know, really, really bad handwriting here. I just got to be really delicate. Okay. Let's label FSH, LH, all that stuff here, estrogen, progesterone, okay? So let's start with the FSH and the LH here, guys, okay? So let's see, I'll get my colors here right too, okay? All right. So your FSH, guys, is going to be the one in the blue down here. This FSH right here. All right, and then we have LH, which is the one in red. All right. Then we have our estrogen, which is down here in the sage green. I'll just put ESTR for short, or S, there we go. And we'll put pro, that's the purple one, so we'll put pro. All right, perfect. All right, so we have that. So then we have the dominant follicle, which the dominant follicle is, right, let's see if we can do some color coordination right here. So that one's in like the teal blue. Dominant follicle is going to be this guy right here, okay? We have the LH and FSH surge. We'll do this one in pink. So do that one right there. And we'll circle that into this section right here for you guys, okay? And then we have ovulation. Ovulation, we will use the orange color. Ovulation is right here. And we have the corpus luteum, and just for sake of color, we're going to say the corpus luteum is here in yellow. That means yellow body in Latin, okay? So those are those ones labeled here, okay? And now let's go over here and let's answer these questions, okay? So, 4A here, okay? So, which hormone stimulates follicles to grow, and which organs secrete this hormone, okay? So, what is actually stimulating the follicles to grow, guys? Well, it's in the name, FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, okay? FSH. And then what organ secretes this hormone? This is going to be the anterior pituitary. If you think all the way back to ANP130, like it was our last unit, we talked about this hormone, all right? Days 1 to 14 of ovarian cycle are called the follicular phase. What cells produce estrogen, and why does the amount of estrogen increase rapidly at day 12 of the cycle? What cells produce it? These are going to be the granulosa cells, guys. Okay. What's happening at day 12? A dominant follicle emerges and secretes a lot of it. Okay. And all this stuff, all the answers for this, by the way, are up here in the story time paragraph. Okay. What does estrogen do to the uterus? It causes the lining to thicken. Okay, so it allows it to grow. Let to thicken, or a better word I should say is proliferate. All right. Days 5 to 14 of the uterine cycle are called the proliferative phase. Proliferative phase. What does the increased estrogen at the end of the follicular phase cause the anterior pituitary to do? So it does a positive feedback loop here, okay? And it causes it to secrete more FSH/LH and GnRH, which we don't need to worry about the GnRH for this particular picture here, okay? Which hormones directly cause ovulation? This is going to be the LH and FSH, guys. All right. Ovulation typically occurs around day 14. After ovulation, the remaining follicle is transformed into a structure called the corpus luteum. And just to try and be fun here, let's see if I can take this guy. No, I cannot make it yellow. I was going to try and make it yellow. Luteum. Days 15 to 20 of the ovarian cycle are called what, guys? This is called the luteal phase, all right? When the actual corpus luteum exists, okay? What hormones are produced by the corpus luteum? A strong amount of estrogen and progesterone, okay? Which hormone stimulates increased blood flow to the uterus and stimulates the endometrium to secrete nutrients, guys, all right? This is going to be progesterone. All right. Days 15 to 26 of the uterine cycle are called the secretory phase. Okay. And the last one here. Why does endometrium start to generate at days 27 28? Because the corpus luteum has died off, and therefore there is no estrogen and progesterone to maintain the lining. Okay. What's the difference between the premenstrual? So yeah, let's talk about what's the difference between these two. So this is the actual breakdown of the uterine lining itself. Okay. The menstrual, all right, the actual visible discharge of the uterine lining from the vagina. Okay. How long does the menstrual phase typically last? About days 1 to 5, guys. About 1 to 5 days. So we'll say, 5 days. Okay. All right. Guys, that's it. All right. That's everything for me. Okay. So I think after this, guys, let's get back to a single page here. Zoom in. I think after this, guys, I think you for sure are able to define the key terms right down here. You guys are for sure able to identify the indicated structures in the male reproductive system and models. For sure could trace the path of sperm Can name the functions of all these things, okay? And hint, hint, this was another pre-lab prep. For sure can identify the indicator structures in the female system, trace the path of an egg as it goes from the ovary to out of the body, name the function of the thecum granulosa, hint, hint, another pre-lab prep, and then identify and describe the structures, phases, hormones, major events of the female sexual cycle. I think you guys can do that, okay? All right. Well, guys, that's it for me, okay? So, first of all, I want to say thank you guys for such a fun semester and for tuning in my videos. I know you guys enjoy them quite a bit. They're a good way to help you guys review. I hope you guys get a kick of all my TK to YouTube intros. I know it's just a fun way just to kind of get your attention, keep the videos jazzed up instead of just being, well, this is that. I try and keep things fun in class and with these videos, okay? So with that, guys, yep, this video will be up. Best of luck with, obviously, our last celebration in class. I'll be there with you to take it. And, of course, best of luck with the rest of your guys' finals. But most importantly, good luck with your career endeavors, okay? I hope to stay in touch with you guys moving forward and just kind of see what you guys get yourselves into. I know you guys will be great. A lot of you guys are taking this class because you want to do some sort of clinician type field, whether it be nursing, exercise science, radiology. I hope this was a good stepping stone to get you there. Hope you guys learned a lot, and I hope it'll help you accomplish those goals. Okay. So with that, guys, TK will be signing off for the last time for ANP140. If you have any questions about anything, let me know. Besides that, guys, TK is out. Take care.